I guess my background comes from, well, I've always worked in technology. I started in the private sector, so right off as a fresh graduate, I was in Deutsche Bank. And I quickly realized the difference that technology could make for people. And I wanted to move to an organization, a sort of sector where that had the best impact. And so I've worked in charity sector for quite a while. So I've worked for Citizens Advice and then housing associations, a bit of consultancy in that, always around technology and about using technology to improve outcomes really in their broadest sense. And then I moved more into a data space over the last 10 years as data is becoming more and more important. And again, that's the similar purpose that pretty much everything that we were trying to do back in the time of the housing association, the stumbling blocks were always data not being in the right place. And so we started a big piece of program work to work out how to manage data better. That was a really good success, and we carried on with that, and that's really where my passion for data management and data governance has come from. And then moving on to more senior positions, the impact you can have with data is fundamentally magnified, and I think it's nothing new to anyone that the amount of use of data is growing exponentially. Using it wisely becomes more and more the challenge, and that's where I like to start focusing my view of it anyway. So that's me in a nutshell, I think. I think one of the things that, well, I think when you're in a position of leadership, you have an obligation to make sure that you pass on that learning, that knowledge, and that we can all make best use of each other's understanding. And I think the Rela8 advisory group, well, the Rela8 as an organisation is fundamentally focused on bringing together people's understanding in the technology space, and to add to that what data capabilities you can use. It just seems like a really good space to share understanding and to really make sure that anything any of the advisory board members know gets a bigger audience, really. I mean, there are challenges for anyone in technology around recruitment and talent and making sure they're there. And I don't think that's any different from the public sector, charity sector, private sector. We all have those challenges. I think specifically in my sector is trying to use data to innovate. So data is an enablement, data gets in front of the business, but actually you can really start delivering value if you can use the data to progress the business aims. And that's really difficult because that's the last mile, whereas there's a 50-mile data supply chain that's got to get you to that point. And getting that right, once you get to that point, the nirvana is you can just quickly add on more data and you can do applications built on it. But that is the challenge, and that's what we want to get to. And that's, I think, across government is what that is lacking sometimes, and driving that innovation can be a thankless task, but it's there for the taking. So data and any technical skill set is it's a very detailed, very specific discipline, but it's only as good as the outcome you get. So I would say the piece of advice is data storytelling and technology storytelling. So tell the story of why the data is important. Tell the story of why that piece of visualization that you're working on, why connecting data set A to data set B is important. Most of the time, the actual details of what data set A is not going to be heard by the business user. They're going to see the outcome of data set A. So talk about that and show the difference the data can make, and everything else will follow, and they'll build trust in you to understand you know what you're doing, and then that's where it comes from. For me, the most interesting trend I see in data at the moment, and it follows on from, is data governance, data management, frankly, and about those organizations that are good at managing data, will be the ones that can get the leading edge on where they're going. But the trend that's coming out of that for me is moving on from data protection is data ethics. And that's about not what you are legally allowed to do, but what and how you manage your data for the benefit of your business and your customers, and how you balance those needs. And I think that covers both personal data, but also business sensitive data and what you do with it. And I think that as we go over the next sort of few years, that area is going to grow and grow and grow.